and you're watching Doctors Speak at MediCircle. Today we have with us Dr. Maya Sharma. She's the Global Medical Director at Win Medicare, and recently she has been chosen as Executive Board Member, ACMA Asia, and Advisory Board Member, Journal of Pharmacovigilance and Drug Research. She is an healthcare strategic leader with over 1.5 decades of experience in the clinical and pharmaceutical fields, with the names like Philips, Abbott, and AstraZeneca attached with her. Hi, Dr. Maya. Welcome to MediCircle.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the honor.
So, Dr. Maya, to begin with, you are an MD physician with 17 years of diversified experience across the healthcare spectrum, clinical, pharmaceutical, nutrition, medical devices. So what drives your motivation?
Okay, well, I think I should start with my childhood. I had a very different kind of a childhood. So when I was young, my brother is just, a year older than me, and I was like his best friend. So he used to pull me for all kind of games. So though at home studies were a priority and we used to score well, but I have played all games that even boys used to play. So whether it was football or cricket or hockey, at times I have even done wrestling with boys, so that, I am standing for my near and dear ones. So I have done everything, and that gave me the motivation that I am inferior to none. I can do anything that, a boy or anybody can do. After that, when I moved to medical and I studied in Russia, so I had to study in Russian language because, the lectures, the books, everything was in Russian. And I would say that in English, if we were supposed to read 2 times to acquire that knowledge, in Russian, maybe 4 or 5 times it is required to gain that knowledge. But then we still, I still did well. I came with a gold medal. And after coming back to India, I cracked the exam in the first attempt where only 6% medicos were passing it. So all these gave me the confidence, all these academic achievements that, I can do well. And if I put my mind and heart into something, then I can come out with flying colors. And I did not stop at that. Once I was into, the clinical and later into pharma, I plan to do this course in international business from IIM Calcutta as well. There also, I was the only medico, and all the other people were from sales and marketing and business development backgrounds. And I still did pretty well, so that even my professors used to remember that she was the only medico and she was doing very well. So all these things, tits and bits, pieces of it, and small, I would say acts of praise by my professors and teachers had given me that motivation that at times, even if a role model is not available, you can become one. You can do anything, you can achieve everything. So I believe one should make smart choices, responsible choices, put all effort. If you're doing something, do it really well. That's what I strongly believe in. So this has been my motivation.
That's really great to hear from you. And along with that, you have over 1.5 decades of experience mixed with multinational and Indian majors, established businesses and startups like AstraZeneca, Philips, Signatera. How has the journey been?
I would say it has been an amazing journey, though it's a cliche statement, but very true. Because I have never kind of tried to, bind myself in some kind of boundaries that I can do this and I cannot do that. So as any doctor, I started off as a clinician. I was working with one of the chain hospitals, which is Max Hospital in Delhi. But then I wanted to pursue something else which can give me more fulfillment. And although there was, there were anxious nights and, terrible days when I was not able to decide that where my passion lies, what I wanted to do, because I was overall doing well. I was taking care of my patients. My seniors were very happy with my work, happy with my clinical knowledge and acumen. But somewhere I was not deriving that fulfillment. So there was this professor, in consultant, and during one of our night duties, this lady consultant, she was asking me, what's bothering you? And I entrusted her with my anxiety that I'm thinking of making a change, to hang up the stethoscope and move, to something else. And I expressed that, maybe pharma, maybe clinical research, but I'm not sure. So that's when she told me that, Maya, you are still young. There are people who are struggling with their jobs and trying to make a change at the age of 50 year or 60 year. And sometimes they retire and they realize that they have still not done what they wish to do. They have not followed their passion. So she said, see, you're young, you have the knowledge, you have the experience. Why don't you try it out, whatever you want? And if it doesn't work out for you, come back and we'll welcome you with open arms. That was one, counseling session and a statement of hers, which, made me, I would say, jump into my next phase of life, which was a paradigm shift into pharmaceuticals. And then I did not stop at that. So from pharmaceuticals, I moved into medical nutrition. From medical nutrition, I moved into devices and equipment. Currently, I'm back into pharma, but handling international. So that ways, my mantra has been: do not limit yourself. Keep experimenting. On the way you find your passion. But yes, whatever you're doing, that you should try to do with your full heart. So that gives you the realization of that nothing is impossible.
True, very true. It was really, I mean, very, very interesting and also very inspiring that you, if you follow your passion, I think you would be at the place where you just not enjoy the work, but also excel at it. I mean, as you were young and you started doing something which were like very much tricky at that times. As you said, there are a lot of people who generally don't try there and follow their passions.
Actually,
I think through
you
your
see, there are a lot of doctors who think, once they have done their MBBS or MD, that they only can become clinicians. But when you start exploring, you realize that you can move into pharmaceuticals or devices or nutrition or as medical writers, or into the field of clinical research or medical insurance. So once you start exploring, there is a plethora of opportunities available out there. So you can experiment and find, what is as per your temperament and skills and experience.
yes.
So
You have been invited as a guest speaker on Aaj Tak, Disruption Movements in Europe, Youth Transformation in UK, various universities and Global Medical Affairs Conference. So how has the experience been on getting invited on so many talk shows?
okay, well, I would say that God has been kind and I've been ambitious. I strongly believe that, if one is privileged enough to pursue the knowledge or his chosen path of career, then we should definitely spread the knowledge. There is scarcity of the right kind of knowledge or information or wisdom available. So whatever has been my experience in these 17 years, whatever nuances I've had of challenges and opportunities and what kind of skills are required for those, I love to share them, with the youngsters or my peers and colleagues. So I would say in Aaj Tak, I was actually invited to share my knowledge about why women have a lesser risk of COVID-19. So I gave the medical perspective, whether it is because of the genes or the hormones, it was about that. So it was a medical nugget.
Okay.
Then on disruption movement, actually, this was a movement started by a group in Europe, and they were inviting all the CEOs, CXOs to express their views again during Corona times. During these disruption moments, what we can do, how we can apply our current knowledge, how can we change so that we are able to sail through these times. So I gave examples of how the best of the businesses houses have emerged during the times of crisis in the past, how the best leaders, could upskill and motivate people during times of crisis. So there, in every negative situation, there is some positivity that we need to cling on to, hold on to, and move on. So that was my topic. Then in youth transformation, we were again try to address the young, I would say the Instagram generation on, you know it's not just about education, but how our acquired values help us to find the purpose in life. So there was a series of, I would say, joint lectures on that and interacting with the young people. And I have been addressing again students and startups during my various university sessions, which had ranged again from the coronavirus crisis, how health tech companies are changing, what are the current jobs and opportunities available, entrepreneurship. So I've been talking about that. And in one of the universities, I was specifically told to talk about whether women can take up entrepreneurship, whether they are cut out for it. And I specifically addressed that by giving the examples of Saraswati, Durga, and Lakshmi. So I told them that, these days, if we see the ratio of, girl child, girl children who are studying is increasing. If we see the statistics of how the girls are faring in schools and colleges, then it's awesome to know that girls are actually outperforming boys. If you take out, the 10th and 12th board results, girls are outshining the boys. The same goes for, I would say, even college education, if they are able to achieve that. Secondly, I said, so when we talk about all these academic achievements, I say that then that is the time when the girls and women personify Saraswati. They acquire knowledge, and they display that knowledge. When we talk about Durga, so Durga, again, when we are taking care of our loved ones, when we are fighting, against the societies for our children, making sure that, our near and dear ones are safe, that's how we personify Durga. And I said, this is high time that we should personify Lakshmi. We should not hold ourselves at just acquiring the knowledge, but how we can convert that knowledge and contribute, and add up to the productivity of the nation. That's when, I would say the country can rise. So it is very important today, especially in a time like this crisis, when people are losing their jobs, that if women can apply their brains and understand, with their current skills, or maybe they can acquire some skills. There are so many online courses available these days, that how can they support their family, how they can support the society, how they can support the nation. Just imagine if a 50% workforce or a 50% additional GDP adds up, what can happen to the growth of that nation. So that is how I addressed, that university group as well.
That was great. I think women entrepreneurship should be taken seriously. I mean, I remember there was some report on LinkedIn that investors also prefer women entrepreneurs because they think that they are more honest, they are more dedicated and devoted to their work responsibilities, and they are more passionate about the way they take their responsibilities. So I think success would be really touching their feet. But yes, we want, and the need of the hour is more and more women should come out and face this challenge. And really, by doing just not their household chores, they can excel in any field they take on.
Completely agree. I second that.
So my next question would be on COVID. Like, how do you see calm under pressure? Because the new normal is here, and we expected the COVID to go by June, July, August. Now October is there, and there is no any such sign that COVID is going. So yes, but the recovery rates are increasing. That is a great sign for the Indian as a nation. But at the same time, we have to live with COVID, and we have to, do everything with the same disease. And it should not be like there is a pandemic and we should stop. So how do you see you normally?
Okay, I would say there is still a lot to be hopeful for. See, India is a country of 1.3 billion people. Even if we focus on the healthcare or overall providing jobs and career opportunities to these 1.3 billion people, the technology it requires, the kind of resources which are required, the upgrading and skill enhancement, etc. So at different levels, there is so much of scope to be done to provide, I would say, equal opportunities and resources to these 1.3 billion people. So that is why, this is the time to think about the products and services for these 1.3 billion people. See how technology can be embraced and used in different spheres, whether it is, healthcare or retail businesses, or I would say, any other sphere today. So by embracing these changes and by finding the positivity, uh, we can actually, inculcate that adaptable skill among people and make them realize that, instead of just waiting for better times or the earlier times to come back, the best policy is to adapt for this new change. Even in biology, we keep saying that, survival of the fittest, which means it is not the strongest or the most intelligent of the species which survive, but the one which is adaptable to change. So this is the time you should think that you have to change, whether it is in terms of your education, acquiring anything new, or you can think that your transferable skills can be used in newer kind of jobs, how you can network, collaborate, and come up with something new. So all these things have to be kept in mind, and we need to support our people. Again, I see a lot of mental health issues arising because of the anxiety and people losing either their near and dear ones or their jobs, etc. Yes, it is disheartening, it is disappointing, but again, I would say that it is in times of crisis that the best qualities in people emerge, the best companies emerge, and newer leaders emerge who can make a sale out of these kind of crises. So that's why we should be hopeful. Also, if we see the general scenario that what kind of nation we were, I remember the earlier news when coronavirus was spreading in India, and we said that we did not have a single PPE. From that time to within a few months, the DRDO, which is the Defense Research Organization, uptook this task, and they started kind of working on it along with other collaborators. And within a few months, we were manufacturing 50,000, then 1 lakh, and now 5 lakh PPE. So that ways how we have adapted. We can inspire each other. So now not just we are not just making PPE, but we are in a the phase to export PPE. If we see the education systems, the Indian teachers, they were considered like they are not tech savvy, but how they have adapted to technology, how they have learned to take online classes and engage their students has been really appreciable. Same way, the way we engage, the doctors used to engage with with their patients. Initially there was very less number of footfalls in the hospitals. The patients were not also going to the private clinics because of the fear of infection. But then again, how the doctors and some technology companies like Practo and others have taken up in terms of telecounseling has again been very, very admirable. And now more and more people are gaining that confidence. If you see the story of Amazon, Flipkart, etc., data shows that 50 to 70% of people, especially the elderly, admitted that they have done online shopping for the first time in their lives. So yes, if we are a little agile, we can change, we can overcome the current crisis and actually become a better version of ourselves.
Sure.
So that is what I strongly believe. As an individual, as a society, and as a nation, we have to change because we know this is the new normal. So unprecedented times require unprecedented efforts.
True, very true. So any other comments or views you would like to share with us and our viewers?
I would just like to share a small story before we hang up. Uh, Galileo, right? We all have heard about Galileo. He was the one who invented the telescope, and he started studying the universe. After doing that, his first realization, which he shared with people, was that it we keep on saying that sun rises in the east, it sets in the west, which means Earth is the center of the universe, and sun is rising and setting, which means it is revolving around the Earth. But he said, no, this is not true. It is the sun actually, which is the center of the universe. On the contrary, it is the Earth which is revolving around it. But let me tell you, he was criticized a lot, and a lot of people were offended. The church said that, he was against what the church was preaching, and he was lying, etc. And unfortunately, he was even murdered because of this. But much later, people found out what he said was the ultimate truth. So we need to understand today that truth is eternal, knowledge is changeable. More so from the recent context of the coronavirus vaccines and medicines. So we have heard the story about remdesivir and dexamethasone and whether plasma is working or not. So let me tell you, some people say that how come there are conflicting news on the same I would say medicine or vaccine. How is it even possible? And I tell them that science is always evolving. We try to be as close as possible to truth, but it is only when we reach the truth we can say now this is ultimate. Otherwise, it will keep on evolving.
Yes.
Also, that how medicine has evolved, overall from the nascent stages till date, and the speed at which, the paradigm shift has happened during the corona times has never happened earlier. So we are just adding up small bits of information, knowledge to science today. There is nothing which is concrete, nothing which we can say that we have found, and this is the best vaccine or the best medicine available. It is all work in progress, right? So we should understand this and help the evolution of science. We should not politicize science, and one day science will certainly win.
Yes, very true. So it was really, really great talking to Docpreneur, Dr. Maya, on MediCircle. Thanks, Maya, for joining us and sharing your insightful views with us. Thank you.
It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for providing this platform.